أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. First, we seek refuge with Allah from Satan, the avowed enemy. We begin in the name of Allah, the merciful benefactor, merciful redeemer, the especially merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord and sustainer of all worlds. Indeed, we give praise to Allah, whom we seek His aid and forgiveness for our sins, our wrongdoings. He whom Allah guides, there is none that can lead him astray. And he whom Allah leads astray, there is none that can guide him. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, the one God, who has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his prophet, servant, and messenger. Today, to piggyback off of what is happening in the community, dealing with those situations of violence, we understand that we know that it's a lack of revelation. It's a lack of something happening or change in the heart. We quote all the time from our book that if we don't change what is within our souls, then Allah won't do anything for you. We have to some way commit to that change, separate ourselves from what we've been doing. And this not so much mean the Muslims, because we're striving in that effort, but our job is to teach the rest of humanity. So when we have revelation, we know that it is the key to the revolution. And without it, you cannot make a change. You have to have it to make the change. It is not about fearing death or fighting or some kind of war or anything. All of that really is within yourself. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always a person of high principles, trustworthy, kind, always smiled, always gave good advice. But even that one individual in such a corrupt society could not make a change. It took revelation to make the change. It took revelation to start a revolution. Even though they fought and they struggled, it necessarily wasn't an all-out war until 13 years in, when you have the Battle of Badr. So if you want change, if you want justice, you must earn and yearn the protection of Allah. We have to teach that we must first forgive ourselves. After we forgive ourselves, we have to teach that Allah forgives too. Now, I've always used the analogy of being on a journey and packing your bags. But see, this journey that we're going on is a spiritual journey. The body stays here, something else goes, but you got to pack a bag. And the things that you put in that bag is not necessarily a toothbrush. It is not new clothing. It is not undergarments, your cell phone, your chargers, your soap. It's not that. That what you pack in that bag, it's got to be something for what you need when you get to your place. And you have to pack the bag with principles that you adhere to. When we came individually, I know everybody has a story, and we come into Islam, we learned first of all that there was a brotherhood. We learned first of all that there was a sisterhood, and there was a family. There was a community. There was a political system. Everything was already set up. We come into a situation where there's an expression of love. There's an expression of caring. Somehow, we leave those duties of those high principles of caring and love and respect for each other, and we fight about religion. All these little nuances of religion, we fight. Rasulullah said this. The book says this. You shouldn't do that. You should go this way. You should do this. You should do that. When really, essentially, as long as you cling to the oneness of Allah and do your best in the caring department, in the love department, in the kindness department, that you not only become clear evidence just because you accepted it, but you become it physically. See, the one thing that hasn't changed, no matter how much you have evolved and how much our society has evolved, the only thing that remained the same is the Muslims. We have kept Salat, we have kept our Shahada, we have kept our Hajj, we have kept our charity. But we are up against a society that don't want the rest of the world to see that. So now we have a task. And this has always been our task, to take our principles outside. Leave our religion inside. Because if you take your principles outside, they're going to want to come inside. to learn what you're doing to make you who you are. We come into this religion because we learn to separate ourselves and our characteristics from the very people who love us, the people who brought us into this world. Now, for many of you that have grown up to be Muslims and families and stuff like that, you might not understand what that means. But those of us who were raised in churches, who had no religion, or the streets raised you, you might not understand what that means. But what it means is that a person who had any light inside decided to search for it, decided to go for it, to find out what it is that's bringing them closer to his own goodness. You can't separate a person's goodness from what he believes. It's okay to believe the way you want to believe and have a good character. I don't know how much weight that's going to have when you're on your journey, because belief has a lot to do with why you are the way you are. It has a lot to do with it. So we came into this faith, we came into this religion because we wanted to exchange our hate for love. We wanted to exchange our dope and drugs for cleanliness and uprightness. We come in this religion because we want to be good people, not only because it shows on the outside, but it is internal. So now that we have sprouted above ground, like a plant, we are sprouted above ground. It is time to take the charge that we should be taking. It's scary. I'm going to tell you how scary it is. It is so scary. It is almost like every individual in here not only have to give the message like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it's equivalent to how Moses had to do it. Because you have to go to the person who raised you. You have to go to the person who fed you. You have to go to the person who cared for you in your ignorance of God, in your ignorance of love, in your ignorance of hate and all of that, and tell them that it's a better way. Every individual has to do that. Once we understand that, I think that we'll get it. Everybody got a job. Everybody's got a reason why they're here. Allah points us in a direction because that direction is a material origin of our father Adam. We turn in this direction for prayer. And we maintain that for a long time. Nothing's changed about the Muslim. It just so happened that the Qibla is not just located right there in the middle of the desert, but it's for a purpose, that we're going somewhere. We're headed somewhere. People want to see what clear evidence is. They want to see what it is. So that leads me to understanding the first ayat of evidence. And that's in Surah 98. And it says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ومشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. Those who rejected the truth among the people of the book and among the polytheists were not going to depart from what they've been doing, their ways, until there should come to them clear evidence. When you read this, you think that the people of the book we're talking about are the Christians, or Bani Israel, or the idolaters. But this ayat is talking about those that are among them. Those that are among them, meaning that everybody didn't believe in that stuff. They didn't believe in their revelations. They're the ones we got to convince. We can redirect true believers, those who really honestly believe in God and they carry great principles and they live that life all the time, but are just misguided by what they believe. If belief is there, it's easy to adjust their azimuth a little bit and point them in a direction so that they can, their duties will count for something when they get there. That is a lot easier than those that are among them that don't believe. We're not talking about Christians. True Christians have no problem with what Islam is about. Have no fault with Islam. People who hold on to their Torah, they have no problem. It is those that are among them, the disbelievers and the idolaters. They are the ones that are ruling the world. They are the ones that are making religions. They are the ones that control this society. That's who your message got to get to. The ones who claim that they feed you. They give you jobs. They're responsible for you even living, because I could just make it an announcement and you'll be dead. They are the ones. So this is what our job is, to go among those who disbelieve. Among those ones who know the truth, but in their ranks there are people who just don't care. I bring this up because a young lady was telling me a story. She asked me a question about the truth of Thanksgiving. Well, we know the truth. It was a straight genocide. Some hungry guys got hungry and they killed everybody. That's basically the story. So I tried to break it down logically, because I know that they didn't just get off the boat and start killing people. That didn't happen. Because the first winter they suffered, they died, disease and all of that. It was freezing. Then the Indians came over to greet them and to teach them and to guide them. People who were probably very pious, who probably loved to have a good relationship with these people. They probably were here, not saying all of them, but if their claim is that they were coming here for freedom to practice their religion, give them that claim. I'm trying to explain it to them, because I had no clue what the story was about. It's genocide is what it is. She said, no, I don't. Well, why are you celebrating? I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to explain it. I'm trying to explain it. I said, because these first people who are believers, who are trying to establish their faith on this land can account for the disbelievers that are coming behind them, who had no God, who didn't care about God, who had no love. They had a whole different plan. I think they call them missionaries. They come in with their books, but you don't know what's coming after them. These are the ones the lessons got to get to, because they are the ones that rule the world. Those are the ones that rule the land. Those are the ones who make the laws. And the only way that they will ever understand is if they see a community that is doing it as well as practicing it. Reading it, living it, and practicing it. And not only that, we're changing their true believers. She tells a story about Baule out of Ghana, who were in a war. And they fled away from the tribe at that time. And they get to a river that crosses over into the Ivory Coast. You can Google this. It's called Baule. And the queen at that time had only one son. That was her treasure. That was the only child she had. But they asked the river, what can we get to cross the river for safety? And they say, the river told them to give her the son. Throw the son in the water. And she threw the son in the river, and the river parted, and they got through. This is how the Ivory Coast became. It became the Akan people. It's a story. And I thought, wow, if that is true. You know, she claimed that it is true. I believe the story. You told me. I read it. It's the same thing. That is in their history. Fascinating. But I couldn't do that about Thanksgiving. Because these people that came after those that are probably pious, who wanted to learn how to cook and feed themselves and practice their religion here, were overrun by the evildoers. That's who our message got to get to. And I'm going to tell you, our message is very, very effective. I've seen on YouTube a brother out of Mississippi who is Muslim, Caucasian brother, who started an organization called Redneck Muslims. Now I know if you from here, you ain't going to talk to no rednecks. You probably won't even do that. But he's getting talking engagements all over the country of how he accepted Islam. And I said, what a wonderful movement, because Malcolm have always wanted to take that conversation back from a young white female in college who came up to him and asked him, what can we do to help? And he said nothing. He always wished he can take that back, and I believe it's in his book. To take that back. Because if you teach them where they are, then the world will find its way to peace. You are not going to convince them of Islam if you're not practicing it and living it and showing them how to do it and teaching them where they are. He's even more proud to be a redneck today. And he understands that his history is horrible. And he apologizes for it. And he apologized the way his grandfather and his father taught him. He said, but now I know Allah. All that hate, I'm taking it out of my bag. And I'm putting love in it. And what I'm going to do is start teaching my people. Because none of it is true. None of it is true. It's poor blacks, it's poor white people too. He knows it, and he's telling the truth. But that's our task. Being that he's Muslim, we're on the same team. Regardless of what he looked like, he's on a mission. But that's where it starts. I know that, inshallah, whatever is in Allah's plan, we have no control over.
None.
We have these ideologies about payback and the things they did to you in your land and to us and all of that. What is Allah telling us when we adhere to our book? When we practice our book? He builds up in us a courage like Moses to go to his Pharaoh and tell him to change his ways. And that's a hard task. Especially when you're an ex-slave. So on this journey, we have to take our principles to another level. Not so much our religion. We talk about prayer being a ritual of it, but it's part of what gives you your principles. It's part of it. Fasting gives you principles. And that if we teach it in that manner, people are going to want to know what's on the inside. But what is in the book? And with these high principles, I know for a fact that Allah will help us, especially with the violence that we see in this community, because they have no principles. If I can shoot you before I even talk to you, I can hate you because of something you said on social media, whatever the cause may be. That we should be accepting this outer community, their boys, their children. We should be bringing them in, showing them principles, showing them how to live and interact with each other. That it is not about aggression and violence all the time. I know we're flawed human beings and we can't have heaven on earth, but we can strive to be better people. I pray that something I said today is helpful and kind to us, that we can grow from it. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka anta samiul alim. Rabbana aghfir alaina sabrata wa fa'na muslimin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. Just to clear it all up is to let's try to find a way to be more active in the community. And I think that this organization, Mask, or it's just one part. It's just one part of an organization, but we should find something that we can do to build outside of this. And I have attached myself to Teen Summit and this organization of Mask so that we can start making banners so that we can be ready. When it's time to walk, we can be ready. We don't have to have cardboard or whatever. We can be professional and we can look good. And then from there, we work on the inside. May Allah continue to bless our community, and that we continue to strive in the effort to pursue the goodness of ourselves toward Allah, and to always be vigilant in our service. May Allah continue to bless this community. And if you're going back to work, be safe. Going back home, if it's far like myself, be safe. I pray that I see you all again next week, inshallah. Be kind to someone.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat, ala zakah, come to salat, come to salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah.